So this is our body positive group that we hold every month, the last Thursday of every month, and we will be continuing to do them virtually from now on until we can meet up again. And so I decided to pull up activity 2. So there's a 6-week series, and week 2 is one of my favorites because it really guides us to exploring the body messages that are out there, whether we realize they are or not. They come from all different places. But before we dive into that, I'd like to go over some of just the overall body positive competencies, which is actually it's pretty far away, so let me move it. And it's going to be backwards. So you can either follow along and open up the PDF, but I do want to just go through each of them just to plant the seeds, because these are some of the competencies that they don't just digest automatically or overnight. It actually takes a lot of practice and a long process in order to really accomplish but sustain each of these different competencies. And it really does go with everyone's nutrition practice. It's a really important perspective to have when you're learning how to not only take care of yourself, but to share that with others too. So that's why I like this model so much, because it starts off with number 1 of how important it is to reclaim our health. We have all been programmed, and there's been so many messages about food, about our bodies, about exercise, from so many different places. So, some of those places involve our parents, our family, but also our friends, our doctors, the media. And so we have all sports, like we have all of these messages and information flooding us on a daily basis. And that's actually been how we've shaped how we think about our health. One of the goals of the competencies is to reclaim our health, and how it's really about uncovering the messages that have influenced all of our relationships with our body, but with food and exercise. And it is quite a process to develop a weight neutral, health centered approach to self-care. It's not something that we're taught. We're not taught how to take care of ourselves. It's something that we have to learn how to do. And no matter how much we love our family and how much we love our friends, a lot of the messages that have become part of our health practice comes from those relationships. So it's just bringing some awareness to that, but it's really about empowering yourself so that you can cultivate, which is I like to say it's number 2, but practicing intuitive self-care. So from diet culture, we're told what to eat. So food is either good or bad, or, growing up, we're told what to do. And sometimes that can be very triggering in general. But practicing intuitive self-care is about learning how to listen to yourself, and then following what your body is telling you to do. So it's a completely different approach to whether you're pleasing someone else, or this diet told you that was the right thing to do, that was going to determine your health, like food and exercise or health. But there's 20 other things that actually really determine your health. And sometimes that's just even access to healthcare, or going out in nature. Those are all the different parts to how we can build our nutrition practice to be sustainable. So practicing intuitive self-care. So we have to acquire different tools. You know, we're not supposed to just know how to take care of ourselves. So there's different tools that can be acquired. There's different resources that can help us build our knowledge about food, but also even just being in a supportive space that helps our focus, because we're always focused outward on what should we be doing. So to be in a space that really encourages you to turn that around and ask yourself what you need. Even just that daily pause multiple times throughout the day of, what does my body need right now? What do I need right now? Because we're really good at going, but we really want the day to be like recalibrated throughout the day, so that we feel grounded. And then we're not letting out too much energy, because when we let out too much energy, then we're going to get burnt out or drained. So we need tools and resources in order for us to be encouraged to do that. And unfortunately, most of our programming has more fueled the going, like if I achieve more, I'm doing a better job, etc. Those are just, we're going to brainstorm more of those messages, but those are just a couple. And number 3 is, developing a practice of self-love. So negative self-talk is a really common behavior that we have been programmed to do. So just employing compassion. So sometimes we're really good at being compassionate for others, but being compassionate for ourselves is a different story. And we really need to learn how to bring that compassion to ourselves, forgiveness, humor, as we leave behind that like self-criticism. And reflection is great. Reflection's great. Even regret is okay, but guilt and shame are not okay. That's really a sign that if anyone we work with, or anyone, if ourselves, anyone around us, if they're feeling some level of guilt, that is a red flag of an area that they can really benefit from processing and letting go of any guilt or any shame that we're feeling, because those are really real toxins to the body, and is going to increase stress levels, which is going to lower immune systems, which is what we really don't want, especially right now. Number 4 is declare your own authentic beauty. So experience beauty as a creative, dynamic process. It's something that we really grow into, I think, as long as we're given enough space to explore ourselves and not just follow what we think we should be or the job we should be, but to really allow ourselves to embrace that process and be our true selves. Um, let's see. And then number 5, build community. So connect to others through a shared positive approach to beauty, health, and identity. Role model love and respect for our own bodies. So that's something that's really, really important to me. And then build a community to support this type of lifestyle. So the whole reason why I went to California and did intensive training with Body Positive was really for the community piece of it. I think it's so important that we have this environment and a place where we have a space to go inward and to be encouraged to be in this process. When I was at the training with other therapists and social workers, dietitians, it was like 3 days of this intense training, and no one wanted to leave because we were all so comfortable and felt supported being in that space. So there's definitely a value of creating more spaces like this or like that, in as many places as we can, because these are some difficult things that we definitely do need to talk about. But I think that it will, um, it's it's a fun and beautiful, you know, place to be as well. So I just wanted to double check and see, 'cause there's a couple people um, that said they were coming. So, but we'll just continue. Okay. So for the first exercise that we're gonna just kind of brainstorm together is exploring body messages. And this, it's useful to start thinking about the messages that affect how we feel about and care for our bodies. It's important to understand that the messages come from everywhere, not just the media, and that sometimes the messages, both helpful and hurtful, come from people close to us that sink in the deepest at times. So we'll take about maybe 10 minutes. And again, if you could um, type into the chat. We'll see how that goes at first. But you'll notice, I think you can see it, but hold on, let me bring up my screen. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you can actually see that. Can everyone see these words up here? Not really. All right. You kind of.
I need my glasses.
I'll say them out loud too. So the areas that we're going to brainstorm is the places that the messages are coming from. So we have family up here. We have family, we have friends, we have media, and we have doctors and medical practitioners. So those are the headings that we're going to work with. And maybe we'll just take about 5 minutes to come up with messages that we've received about our bodies, but our bodies' beauty, health, weight, gender, ability, skin color, hair, eating, and exercise, with these 4 categories. So when you're ready, start typing into the chat of the messages we've been given under each of those categories. So let's just start with family first. So write down any messages that you've received from your, or, that you've received from your family about those topics. And I'll start writing them up on the board.
You want us typing those in, right, Nicole? Typing them into the chat?
Yeah, yep, that would be great. And take your time. It's a lot. We receive so many messages. So one, we've received about exercise is that more is always better. Like when we say no pain, no gain. That's an interesting one. Where's my black marker? I can't spell exercise. More is better. So no pain. No pain. Okay, so another one is we can't be happy if we're overweight. Actually, can everyone can see the chat as well, right? Okay, so that's good. Being overweight is genetic and inevitable. What about the message that we even get with with saying the word overweight? Just something to think about. If you want to lose weight, you have to eat foods that you don't enjoy, don't make you feel good. It's a good one. There's no right or wrong. They're messages that we all, this is the time to actually be validated too, if you feel the need. If you keep eating, no one will listen to you and you'll be out of work. What about messages about health? Mm-hmm.
Are you referring to health as just like from family, or can we go into the rest of the categories for health as well?
We're just doing from family first.
Okay.
What about gender? Yeah, so if you're overweight, like being overweight is lazy, or weight really relates to being lazy or don't care to make a change. So maybe unmotivated. Too many carbs leads to diabetes. All right, now let's go on to friends. So start kind of brainstorming. What are the messages that you've received about that we've received about our bodies, beauty, health, weight, gender, ability, skin color, hair, eating, and exercise? Those who eat well and exercise are successful. Media. So, what are the messages that we've received about our bodies, beauty, health, weight, gender, ability, skin color, hair, eating, and exercise? Really important exercise because we all have had these messages, so we're just trying to actually be aware of them. Take this pill, you will have more energy. If you're ready to move on to the next one, you can keep posting. You can keep posting the messages that we've received from the media, but definitely go on as well to the messages that we've received from doctors and medical practitioners. See if we can come up with a few more messages that we get about our bodies, beauty, health, weight, gender, ability, skin color, hair, eating, and exercise from our medical practitioners. What I would like to do, I think this would be a good just reflection to write down, maybe on a piece of paper or in a journal, or you could type it out if you'd like to. If you're typing for this next part, just make sure that you're muted so that we're not listening to the typing. Questions however you'd like. So we've brainstormed a lot of different messages that we've received in multiple different areas from these 4 categories. So it's really showing that we all receive messages from a variety of different places. Creates this programming that affects us every day, and it affects everybody every day, whether they are aware of it or not. So I would like us just to try to answer the following questions in your journal or on your paper of: how do you feel in your body right now while looking at all of these messages that we've brainstormed? So take a minute. How do you feel in your body right now looking at all of these messages that we've received from these 4 categories? And how do these messages affect your self-esteem and body image? Is it positive or negative? It may be hard to compare because I don't have them all written up on the board, but kind of going through the chat, what similarities did you notice between the categories or any differences? So was there any similarities with any of the categories or specific differences that we noticed? And what category has most influence? What category has the most influence on how you feel about yourself? Family, friends, media, doctors. And last, what are the effects of taking in these messages and telling them to yourself? What impact does this process have on the way you experience the world each day? So you can keep writing if you need some more time. And also feel free to continue on too, because it's an ongoing process. This is the most important part of reclaiming our health, is being more aware of what are the messages that are affecting us. And it's extremely helpful that we practice and go through this process, because then we are able to be a role model for others, whether you are a teacher or a social worker or a dietitian, any healthcare professional, or just even a participant in society, because we have that ability to help others by just doing the work on ourselves. And that's a really important position to take. And the more we are aware of these messages and where they come from and how they affect us on a daily basis, is going to put us in a better position for reframing thoughts and being able to identify those messages. And not only identifying those messages, but then also looking a little bit further in those messages to determine whether they are true or not. And most of the time, they are not true. and they are just messages coming from our previous programming. So then we're able to quiet that critical voice. Sometimes we refer to it as our critical voice or our ego, or I like to, some of you have been with me, some of you haven't yet, but the little one. And so that's what I typically refer to, um, that critical voice as the little one, as kind of being programmed, developing these messages, but then still hearing some of those messages as we're triggered by different things on a daily basis. So it's can be life changing to learn what those messages are, learn to quiet your critical voice or your little one, so that we can access our big one, which is the one that wants to reclaim our health, wants to learn how to listen to our body and take care of ourselves, um, wants to be compassionate towards others and ourselves. But again, it's a learning process in order to get there. And we can all help each other out too, because we all trigger each other. And that is some of the most valuable information, because when we notice that our little one is being triggered, whether someone intentionally or unintentionally triggered us, that's the information that we need in order to get to the next step and be aware of what is the message that I'm hearing right now, and then maybe where did that come from. And it's going to be probably one of these categories up here. So just something to think about. And then let's move on. We have like a little over 15 minutes to do the drawing exercise. So sharing our body's stories. And so this is the competencies that's still reclaiming our health, but also building community. And so this is where you'll need your piece of paper, a pen, markers or crayons, or pencils, whatever you want. So we're gonna just explore the messages on a deeper level, but this will be an independent exercise that you can use your piece of paper and go through. So there's going to be 3 parts. There are going to be roots, a stem, and a flower, or you could choose to draw a tree as well. So it would be more like the roots, the trunk, and the branches and the leaves. So maybe 4 parts. But I'll write down here. So we have our roots, we have our stem, we have our flower. Or this would be like branches, leaves, or trunk. Okay. All right, so we're going to create a flower or a tree that represents our body. And so this will be like an individual reflection. And the purpose being that it offers a representation of another living and growing entity, because we are all living and growing every day. So let's see. So I'll go through the whole process before we start. So the roots, first you're going to draw the roots, and these represent the messages you received about your body growing up. You will draw the roots on your paper and explore the primary messages, so both supportive and harmful, that you were given about your body from family, friends, your community, TV, magazines. Social media is a huge one. Throughout the early part of your life. So those represent your roots. So I'll give you like 2 to 3 minutes to draw the roots on your page, but then add something to it that represent the messages you received about your body growing up from all of those programmers. So when you're ready, you can move on to the stem or the trunk, and that will be where you can add how you feel about your body today. How do you relate to your body now? What messages do you get from the outside world about your body right now? And what messages have you internalized and say to yourself about your body? So the stem or the trunk is where you add how you feel about your body today. How do you relate to your body now? And what messages do you get from the outside world about your body right now? What messages have you internalized and say to yourself about your body? And if you're ready, you can move on to the branches and leaves or the flower and draw that part first. And this is where you will represent how you want to feel about your body. What would a peaceful relationship with your body look like? How do you want to feel about it? How would you like this relationship to blossom? So the flower, the branches, or the leaves um, is where you would represent how you want to feel about your body. What would a peaceful relationship with your body look like? How do you want to feel about it? How would you like this relationship to blossom? All right. So you can feel free to keep drawing. This is again a process. We only took a very short period of time in order to represent, you know, your body story. So it's just again encouraging everyone to like explore your roots and then like the present and then your intentions for the future so that your relationship with your body continues to grow in a positive direction because the reality is that we are all programmed with these messages that have made it extremely difficult for us to have a positive self-image. So we're up against quite a bit, but that's why it's so important for everyone to work, like put the work in, because as we're putting the work in, we're actually planting seeds for a lot of others. And then more change is happening on a larger scale because of us practicing it ourselves, but also planting those seeds. Um, so I this is one of my favorite assignments or activities into the body positive curriculum. But there's a lot of videos to watch with body positive too. So I will send out the links to, most of you have the links already, but I'll send out a couple other links as well to watch, to just encourage us to go through this process. But again, I can't stress enough that just to allow yourself to see what comes up while we're triggered by anything around us, because that's the most valuable information for us. So we want to welcome that, so that we can keep learning how to reframe those thoughts and identify the messages that aren't true, as we kind of grow into our own nutrition practices, which is really just how you take care of yourself and how you want to grow, not how, we should be doing things. We want to offer that space for being like an individual as well. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. If you do have any questions, please just send me an email. That's fine. I will post a couple extra things just to recap today's meeting, but I just wanted to do those 2 assignments or activities with us today, and then I'll send out a couple of the videos. Great. So I hope everyone is, it's great to see everyone. I know that you're safe, at least, and it's important to kind of stay as connected as we possibly can during this time. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. And I will see everyone soon in one way, shape, or form. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Bye, everyone.